Hi there. Welcome to another edition of TokStocks. I'm your host, Keir Reynolds. And today we're lucky enough to have Shawn Khunkhun, President and CEO of Dolly Varden Silver Corp. Trades on the TSX Venture Exchange with the ticker DV. Shawn's coming back. We spoke to you about 3 months ago. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm doing really well. Grateful to be on. Thank you.
Well, it seems like you guys have kind of accomplished a lot since we last chatted. I thought it'd be worth having you back. You kind of put out an important news release recently talking about your 2024 sort of plans. Since we last chatted in January, your stock's up probably about 50%, and metals, which were pretty hated when we were chatting, certainly look like they've started to turn around a little bit. And you guys were able to go ring the cash register and close on a $15 million bought deal with participation from Eric Sprott and I'm sure a few other interesting participants. In terms of, maybe you could explain a little bit about the terms of the raise. What were the terms?
Yeah, sure. And I just want to note, I'm really proud of our share price performance. You mentioned a 50% move. Looking at our high caliber peers, they're up about 20% in that same time period. So I think we're demonstrating some outperformance. And I really think it speaks to Keir. This is a unicorn opportunity. And I don't say that lightly, but, finding primary silver is really rare. Finding it in Canada makes it that much more special. It makes it rare amongst a unique group of companies. But you asked me about the raise. So I went down to the PDAC, around March 1st. And really, the gold move that we've seen came in mid-March. So the big move really hadn't taken hold. However, we were trading at about 79 cents a share. We structured a charity flow-through deal where the company incurred the dilution at $1.05. So we're talking about a 50% premium to market. And when I was in Toronto, I worked with an incredibly talented group of investment bankers, Jeff Zickerman from Aventis, Jeff Crane from Research Capital, and Kevin Campbell from Haywood. And we also had John Booth's team at Raymond James also participated. And essentially, with three investors, we pulled off the deal. And that was Eric led the deal. And Eric, it was important for him to come in over 10% of the company. And so in order to do that, it translated into $3 million of the $15 million. And then there was an institution that came in for 5, and then another institution that came in for 7. So we had 3 investors take up the $15 million deal. We didn't have to give a warrant. We paid a 5% fee, which is, for the size of company we are and the size of the deal, that's below industry standards. So it was an incredible deal, warrant-free, 50% premium, smart investors. But what I wanted to do is I believe in our business, whether it's being loyal to your shareholders or even being loyal to the investment bankers or, in terms of the communities, it was important for me to allow shareholders to participate. And so what we actually ended up doing is we ended up cutting back one of the large institutional orders, and we let in other shareholders. And then what we did is we took that excess demand, which was about $4 million, because we wanted to cap the size of the deal. We didn't want to overly dilute the company. Anyways, long story short, we put up a trade. In addition to the $15 million bought deal, we put up a $4 million cross where this institution came in and took $4 million worth of stock off of Fury Gold's hands. So Fury Gold, now that's 2 occasions where Fury has allowed, whether it be Fidelity or another institution, to come into the story through a divestment. And it really demonstrates, the partnership. And, these institutions like Fidelity they're good for the business. They're going to enable us to develop this company. And it was a nice, elegant solution where we could give our shareholders loyal access to more stock and also reshape the cap table. And just to summarize here, we're 50% institutionally held, 15% Hecla, 19% Fury, 10% Eric. So 92% of the company is in a small group of aligned shareholders.
Hey, thanks for giving us a run through on that. And sounds like a fantastic financing where you've controlled dilution and got some high quality shareholders. Why don't we switch gears a little bit? We'll talk about your 2024 exploration plans. You put out a news release giving an overview on that. Can you give us a bit of a detail in your own words in terms of what you're going to accomplish this year or what you plan to?
Yeah, what I want to start off by saying is if you look at the Golden Triangle, which has got the richest 20 kilometers for gold and silver mineralization anywhere on the planet, and the big gold mines, the SK Creek, the Premier, the Bruce Jack, they started as silver deposits. And so we're in the richest camp in the world. In 2022 and in 2023, Dolly Varden Silver had the best drill results out of the Golden Triangle. We had the best, and 2023, what it was 25 meters of 45 grams of gold. We also hit 16 meters of 1,500 grams of silver. So we had the best results in 2022. And in 2023, we had 93 meters of 360 grams of silver, 93 meters of 360 silver. And then we had 12 meters of 80 grams of gold and a brand new gold discovery. So Dolly has demonstrated back to back the best results in the richest silver and gold camp on the planet. And so, Keir, we're going to follow up on that success. So a third of the drilling is going to go into that Homestake area where we're pulling out those big silver hits, we're pulling out that new gold discovery, and we're going to see how big that system is, number one. Number two, one of the reasons Hecla increased their stake in the company by 50%, they went from 10% shareholders to 15% shareholders in October, and that was on the back of Wolf. Wolf is gone from this small, high-grade surface vein to 900 meters of high-grade, wide, potentially amenable to bulk mining system. And so what we want to do there is we want to delineate a resource to do the appropriate infill drilling. We want to continue to chase the deposit to the southwest and the northeast. Some of the highlight holes in 2023 out of Wolf include 380 grams of silver over 29 meters and 461 grams of silver equivalent over 27 meters. So we want to continue to follow up. And again, I've looked at 100 silver projects all over the world. It's very, very difficult to find widths and grades that rival what we're hitting at the Dolly Varden Silver Project. So a third of the program up at Homestake, a third of the program delineating a resource at Wolf and continuing to try to grow it. And then a third of the program is going to be focused on property-wide regional targets. And what this is going to demonstrate is there's further growth. There's another Wolf. There's another Torbrit. There's another Homestake. And we already showed through the Moose hit, the Red Point hit, the North Star hit, that there's a lot more to find here. So the way I look at this program here is 70% of it, I have a high degree of confidence that we're going to expand and extend these known deposits. Now 30%, which is in the risk basket, if we hit, it's good night, Irene. Like this thing will be, and I'll tell you, I believe we're already through, I think with my calculations, 130 million ounces of silver EQ is the magic number. We're over 140, pushing 150, and that's out of date. There's some who are estimating that Dolly Varden's already through 200. So I think this thing is already there. How much more can we find?
Well, that's a good segue to the next question. Rick Rule recently, he's been on the interview circuit doing lots of interviews. Nice to see him finally activate his Twitter account and get going. But recently, he stated in a video that he was thinking that one thing you guys should be testing, and you guys are doing that, is that the Dolly Varden system, which is originally what the company was named for, and Homestake which is sort of at the other end of the district, that these two target areas, these two deposits, that it might be part of the same sort of mineralized sort of event, and that it could form a larger sort of district scale project. There's about 5 kilometers sort of between those, and you kind of rattled off a few of these interesting new hits that you found. So are you going to continue to sort of be delineating on that thesis that it's sort of part of the same mineralized event, and that this could hold together in terms of a district sort of scale play?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Rick's right. Like, there are two main centers of gravity currently. You're up at Homestake and then down at Dolly. And the question is there a relationship there? And what the team has come to hypothesize is that along this 15-kilometer system, which is, we describe it as the Kitsault Valley trend, this 15 kilometers, every 1.4 kilometers there's a break, and there's another major deposit. And starting in the south at Dolly, then you've got the Torbrit, then you've got the Wolf, okay? And then up at Homestake, you've got Homestake Main, Homestake Silver, South Reef, and there's about 5.4 kilometers in between South Reef and Wolf. Now, last year, in that gap zone, we had a significant hit out of the Moose showing. And so we've got some targets, whether it's Moose, a little further to the north in Chance. Another one is Escalina. So we're going to test that gap zone. But then the other part of it is, are deposits like Homestake Main and Homestake Silver, are they connected? Now, there's only a 350-meter gap. And where we made that gold discovery last year was in that gap zone. And so whether it's linking these, and I'll tell you my experience, the 20 years I've been around mining projects, where you have two systems coming together, you can have a converging of some spectacular grades in some, often what are these hinge zones. And then the other part of it is down at the Torbrit Wolf, where we've got about 1.4 kilometers. We're starting to bridge the gap. So connecting deposits is a theme that we are trying to validate. And I think we took a big step last year up at Homestake in that. But no, it's it's all about growth, and it's the reason that the stock is up, as you said, 50%. But it's up 50%, but it's still trading at a 50% discount to some of the larger silver names. And so it still would be wildly accretive for a producer to come in here and acquire, whether it's a Dolly Varden Silver or a Vizsla Silver, because the price to NAV multiples for the explorers developers are still, incredibly low, particularly considering what the precious metal prices are and to historic precious metal equity valuations.
So you've indicated in your update 25,000 meters. Is that going to be using a couple of different drill rigs, or how are you sort of planning to sort of split that? Is there any comments that you're able to make at this time?
Yeah, so on May 3rd, 3 rigs arrive at site, and we foresee by the 15th of May we'll have all 3 rigs in full operation, 24 hours a day. And the way we approach exploration annually at Dolly Varden is we come out with a phase 1 plan, and if we're successful, we add meters. We added an extra 10,000 meters last season, about 7,000 the year before. So it wouldn't surprise me if we drilled more than 25,000 meters. But what we've come up with is we've ranked some high priority 1 targets. And exploration is such a fluid journey where, so much can happen where, upon success, we could decide to add a lot more meters.
So what sort of catalysts and timing are we sort of looking at that we could expect as shareholders?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at a chart over the last year, you'll note that starting in September, there was a move in the stock, and these are all Canadian dollar numbers, but the stock went from about 60 cents to about 95 cents. It pulled back, and then there was another move recently from about 70 cents to $1.08. There's two explanations to what drove the share price. Number one was discovery news. Number two was the metal price moving higher. So what's interesting now is I actually think we could have both things working at the same time. We're in a very strong environment for precious metals, particularly silver. Gold's up about 15% year to date, whereas silver's up 20%. So we're starting to see silver outperform gold. We're starting to see silver equities dramatically outperform gold equities. So, a catalyst is rising prices, and the other catalyst is, we're a company that drives its value based on its mineral inventory. One of the ways we grow our mineral inventory is through discovery. So the fact that we're moving into this very large exploration program is a major catalyst for news.
So you're often quoted, and your following sort of increased quite a bit here. What's the macro climate sort of looking like? What are your thoughts sort of on the precious metals here?
Well, I'll talk about three things. Like there was three M&A deals. You had BHP make a $40 billion bid for Anglo. You had just today, it was a smaller deal.
Yeah.
Silver Corp make a $200 million bid for Adventus.
Yeah.
And then about a month ago, you had Alamos do the take under bid for Argonaut. So what I'm seeing an increase in M&A, which is a great sign. And then on the financing side, there are three deals that were put up. Equinox closed a $300 million deal. Caliber, $116 million, and I-80, $100 million. So there's $500 million in financing on three names. So we're seeing increased M&A, increased financing activity, and even the little juniors that go to raise $2 million are closing $6 million. So what I'm seeing here is the generalist investor is acutely aware that precious metals equities are moving up 20, 30%. In the case of Dolly, 50%. And the generalists are wanting to come in the space, and they're wanting to, money is looking for performance, and this is one of the best performing sectors.
So you've been, I've been watching your guys' social media. You guys do a great job of sort of showing behind the scenes, and looks like you've earned your stripes here. A bunch of traveling and some new air miles. What's it sort of typical day looking like for you these days?
So yeah, last week I was in Phoenix at a conference where I did 18 one-on-ones. It was a sort of a speed dating format where you get 20 minutes to give your pitch, followed by lunches, breakfast, dinners with investors. And then I went out to Carlsbad, to San Diego, to Newport, to San Francisco. So, look, I have never worked as hard as I'm working right now. And the reason for it is there's been two times in my 20-year career, and this is the second time, where I feel a high degree of conviction in the name, like a very, very, very high degree of conviction in Dolly Varden. And so I just, not long ago, I was over in Germany for, going through Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt. And I'll tell you, the German investor gets gold. They've lived it. They went through the Weimar Republic. I don't need to explain to them why gold is a sound investment. And so, it's my goal to get out, and my team's going, my VPX will be over in London. He'll be in Quebec City. And, so we're going to all corners of the planet. Plus, we're doing a lot of informative digital work like this to get the story out to a broad audience.
Any final thoughts here before we finish up?
Silver is money, and Dolly Varden is silver. No, but with jokes aside, we've got size, we've got grade, we're in a safe jurisdiction, and judge us by our past. We're up 500% on a company that was operating during a bear market. The company has gone from a $20 million valuation to a 300, but this is a business, Kier, and you know this as well or better than I do. It's a binary business where, you make your money averaging up. Success is rare, but when you have it, you've got to hold on. And it's sometimes it's harder to go from pennies to dollars than it is to go from, dollars to tens of dollars. And so right. I am just celebrating the fact that because I've been doing this for 20 years, I have a special opportunity. These are rare. These are unique. Oh, and at the same time, we're getting into a precious metals tape. And so it's exciting when you have a project that's growing, and it's fun. It's fun when you've built a team and the team is excited because, when they get the assays come in and they see these kilo numbers of gold and these kilo numbers of silver, and it's based on their tireless work with their geological models, their sections, their ground truthing. And so I've got one of the best group of scientists. We've got Ryan Waymark's Fuse Engineering, which is the fastest growing engineering consultancy in the country. We've got Rob McLeod, who, in addition to being a very creative geologist who's been, on the head of a lot of discoveries, has also had 5 successful takeovers. So we've got an incredible scientific team, a very strong capital markets team, and then we've got some incredible shareholders.
Hey, Shawn, thanks very much for spending a bit of time with us. And it's sort of electric. I can feel it coming through the screen. I can tell you're excited, and you're on a heater here. You can't get away from the table. So I wish you luck. Wish you luck.
It's all the coffee.
Well, anyways, I really appreciate your time, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And we look forward to staying up on the story.
Thank you very much for having me on. All the best.